are on, and the lights will go out, and 15 minutes of racing will get underway with a good start from Dan Brown, a good start too from Jack Ashton, who draws alongside the row ahead of him. But again, Sylvester not the best off the line, so Brown takes the lead with ease. Sylvester is second, third is Sylvester, I think.
I think
Polly, I should say.
The Integra made a decent start too, didn't it? And is ahead of Polly.
Yeah, that's the car that's third, isn't it? Kevin Talbot, yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
Talbot. Polly's fourth, Ashton's fifth, Self is sixth.
And then the class battles are frantic, aren't they? They're hairpin on the first lap.
It?
There's Paget, so he's made a good start. He's got Ivor Mares behind him, so that's the Class C battle. But Sylvester's right with Dan Brown. We haven't really seen them battle very much over the course of the weekend. Sylvester's been a little quicker, but Brown has been consistent throughout the races. And he locks up, though. He takes a tight line. You feel the pressure perhaps early on. Will Self in the Peugeots up alongside the Metro. We've got Ben Morton in the Integra leaning on another car.
That was the white Integra, wasn't it, coming up the inside?
That's right. And again, when you're in these classes, these hairpins on the first lap, it gets really busy. But then, as you say, then the race will spread out. There's Drinkwater. The Mini's on the grass. How's this going to go? And David Drinkwater's driven clean round the outside of him, which I'm sure he'd be glad to have got that over and done with. But the leaders turn their way onto the back straight. There's our Class B leaders. That's Mandapir ahead of the Corrado. So David Walsh has fallen a bit further back. There's our Class C leaders. Together. So how much progress has Drinkwater made? Maybe a few positions, not huge amounts. There's the C2 that had a big moment in the earlier race. Chris Woods drives that. But here are the leaders right together. Dan Brown and Dan Sylvester ahead of Kevin Talbot in the Integra. Great to have that diversity amongst the Hondas. We've got two different types of Civic in the top positions, and then an Integra as well, all in that top four.
Yeah, the first two Civics, the same kind of era, aren't they? And then we've got the Integra, then we've got the EP3 of Ryan Polly, the bright blue car. Self is next up, then it's Morton, then it's Ashton. Then it looks like that Smith, I think, through there. Tate Taverner I saw as well in that sort of front part of the order. There's Mandapira being overtaken by that's Ben Ladar, I think, going past him in the 23.
It's a load of dust at Ritchie's. Somebody run wide, but I think they're okay. Ashton's lost positions, has he? No, he was there. He lost a few then on the first lap, so not sure who ran wide, but I don't think it really affected them. So here's the Class B leader, Mandapir. He's got Stuart Kennedy's Corrado, and then the Clio behind is David Walsh. And then in Class C, Martin Paget led from Ivor Mares, and Drinkwater was third in the class after the first lap, so he's made a good opening lap. Brown takes his tight line into Agostino, where it locks the rear wheel, but he's still pretty quick through there. And then they come out of the corner with Sylvester right behind. They've pulled away from Kevin Talbot in the Integra now, who's involved in the battle with Ryan Polly. So Sylvester doesn't have to worry about those behind. He can look about going forwards, having a better race than he had this morning in the Porsche, where he had a problem. He's right there behind Brown into Williams, tucked up behind the leader. So this would be a good opportunity, I would think, for Dan Sylvester to challenge by the time they get to the end of the straight for the lead, down towards the S's, towards Brundle and Nelson. Here they come, Marcus. Let's see, Sylvester looking to the outside of the leader.
Yep, and is he going to make it? I can't see past that timing screen at the moment. He looks like he's going to prevail just on the outside. They're still side by side through the apex of Brundle. Into Nelson they come. There's not much room on the exit, but they both get round. They give themselves racing room, and Dan Sylvester it is who takes it up as they go into the bomb hole for the second time. Third is Kevin Talbot in the Honda Integra. Fourth is the EP3, and up the inside now is coming Ryan Polly, trying to get third place away from Kevin Talbot. Talbot gets very sideways in the towards the end of Coram, but he gets it back and he tucks back into a straight line position as they come onto the centre straight. Talbot's lost ground, but he's still running strongly. But Dan Brown is in the slipstream of Dan Sylvester as they go up towards Riches for the third time, Josh.
Yeah, great racing that was, and because the top two battled, that really brought Talbot into it, and Polly had managed to surprise him with that pass, and then Kevin Talbot did a great job not to have an accident because he had that big side. Brown back to the inside. He has these early apexes into the hairpin, and he's alongside. He hops over the curb, which probably isn't ideal. It will caught him out a little bit, lost momentum on the exit of the corner, so Sylvester hangs on in front. But this is what we've sort of not had all weekend, is this battle between these two, and we've got it in this final race. Sylvester ahead. Can he pull clear now of Dan Brown, with Polly and Talbot not far behind? Will Selford's got fifth, I think, ahead of Ben Morton. So the Peugeot 205 is up into fifth position behind these leading four. In the Class A Championship battle, Dan Sylvester only a few points ahead of Dan Brown. So that it's been a lot of a championship long battle as well that will continue, and those two also in contention for the overall title. So the rest of the pack have come through, but there is Dan Sylvester, our leader on the third lap. He's got a little bit of a gap between himself and Dan Brown, but I wonder if they're closing back in, Marcus.
Well, it looks as though Talbot's keeping it a bit tidier this lap. So suddenly went a bit tail happy on him, that Integra around Coram, but here they come down the Bentley straight, and there's a little bit of smoke coming from the lead car, but might just have been a lock up on that lightly loaded rear wheel. Out over the curb they come down to the bomb hole, and looking strong and calm at the moment is Ryan Polly in the bright blue EP3 Honda Mac Tools car. He's quick in the latter part of Coram. Kevin Talbot behind in the 137, the Honda Integra. He's beginning just to slip a little bit back from the lead trio.
I think in qualifying yesterday he lost the glass in his boot, so that's all been covered up with a sheet and tank tape on it. That's the shots that we've just got of that Integra, but it's not slowed him down much. The leaders go through then, with Sylvester leading by 9/10 from Brown. And then Polly is right with Brown now as they come out of the first corner. Brown has to defend from Ryan Polly, who looks to the outside. Behind Will South and Ben Morton's battle looks quite frantic. Morton, I think, has gone steaming up the inside. But for Ryan Polly, he is right there behind Dan Brown. He can't get through. But this is, I think, probably the best we've seen from Polly this weekend. Getting back into the racing.
Walsh is now second in Class B, incidentally, behind Mandapira and ahead of Stuart Kennedy in the Corrado.
Okay, and in Class C, how's that going? It's still Paget, Mares and Drinkwater by the looks of it. So not quite as tight in that battle as it was in race one at the moment, but there's still half the race to go. Class A is certainly where the interest is. So Mandapira leads by 2 seconds over Walsh, so that's the chase. And there's been a big incident there with 93, which is, I think, Jamie Hayes, who gets back going. Charlie Hayes, I should say, but 122, which is Shay Cavanagh, who's had quite a bit of damage to the side of his car. I think there's glass, there's leaking fluid as well. So I suspect this race might need an intervention with that car there on the road. So we see what is decided. I think a car from the previous race has caused a load of fluid all the way down the pit lane, or where somebody's packed up. Anyway, that's not a problem. The leaders come through. We're not yet got a decision on what might happen here, with 6.5 minutes to go. But Sylvester's getting away, so that pace he's had in the previous two races, Marcus, he's been able to put together now to pull clear. The safety car
board's been illuminated.
So let's hope the safety car can... Yeah.
And that's going to erase what was a tidy lead for Dan Sylvester.
I'm not sure that these guys have really noticed there's a board yet. I think they may have done now, because they were racing quite hard into mode. Safety car's got out in front of the leader, so that's good. But whether that incident can be cleared in 6 minutes, I would suggest is a question mark, and whether we'll get any more racing. But we shall see. So that incident happened just a bit ahead of our Class C and Championship leader Martin Paget. So let's make sure Martin got through that okay. So the rest come through. So the leader is 37, Dan Sylvester. Second is 45, Dan Brown. Third is 36, Ryan Polly. Fourth is 137, Kevin Talbot. Fifth is 67, Ben Morton. Sixth is 34, Will Self. So Ben Morton did get past Will Self on that lap. Seventh is 79, Jack Ashton, who again hasn't got so much pace in this race, it seems. Sort of best of the rest behind those top six. Eighth is 27, Scott Smith. Ninth is 22, Tate Taverner. And 10th is 33, Sean Green. And in the classes, Class B is being led by 69, Matthew Mandapira. Second is 21, David Walsh. Third is 13, Stuart Kennedy. Fourth is 67, Joel Aguirre. And fifth is 64, Adam Schaefer. Then in Class C, 20 Martin Paget, he leads, he's 19th overall. 316 Ivor Mares is second. 1 David Drinkwater is third. 4th is 65 Callum Perfect. And 5th is 98, but we are going red flag. I wondered if that might happen. So I suspect that's the end of the hot hatches, which is a shame because that was a nice race for the lead.
Building nicely. Sylvester, even on a count bag, has still won it if it doesn't continue, because he's been ahead since lap 2.
He'll be pleased about that, won't he?
Yeah, absolutely. But
we've had 2/3 of the race, haven't we? So I would imagine we won't get any more racing.
That's right. They're only short sprint races, aren't they? And they're only 4 3/4 minutes to go. 4:44 to go.
Dan Sylvester can have a small rest before he gets into another car later. That's his first win, though, isn't it? He's this weekend.
Yes.
He had, I think, Mannery Park he won, didn't he, in this championship a couple of months ago. A couple of cars have been brought into the pit lane, the back markers. But I suspect we won't get a restart. We'll wait for official confirmation.
There's quite a line of of liquid in the pit lane. Where's that come from?
I think somebody's dumped a load of fluid out of one of the trucks when they left, and now it's ended up in the pit lane, rather unhelpfully.
Oh, okay.
Which hopefully that will all dry up before we get our pit stop race later. Now we only have 2 races of the meeting to go, remarkably. We have Classic Stock Hatch after this, and then the Club Enduro 2-hour race. There you can see the fluid that's ended up in the pit lane. Marshall's hard at work to sort that out. Or I think might be team members from the team that have caused it that have been made to sort out their mess.
It's going to take some serious blue paper, isn't it? Well, it looks like the safety car is trying to hold them back, going very, very slowly, as if maybe there is an opportunity to get a lap in, but it's a red flag anyway, so just bring them back, and either they'll come into the pits and they'll be eased back into the paddock, or they'll be regridded. So
20th race of the weekend. Looks like it's come to the end.
Yeah, it's the first red, isn't it?
We had some early in the race, and we had Sports 1000 yesterday, but that got restarted. But that was the only one, thinking back.
Yeah, first red of the day. Fingers crossed it's the only one.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, of course, yesterday we had so we're hearing that some of the fluid is from where they had to deal with the fire earlier, but I think it's water in the pit lane, isn't it, which is being cleared up. We saw a moment ago. And I think there's probably a bit of fluid and debris to deer up at the hairpin as well after that incident that caused this red flag. So we will get because the hot hatch cars in the pit lane haven't been told to move, have they? As if surely, because these cars would need another green flag lap as well. So
where are we now in terms of time of day?
So this race should have finished at 3:30, and it's just gone 3:30.
Yep.
So I'm pretty, since we've had 2/3 of the race, I'm pretty sure that what's going to happen. The cars have been stopped. Yes, I don't think a decision has been made yet, has it? Because otherwise we wouldn't be stopped on the... Yeah, they've stopped them just before the pit lane, so they can come into the pits or onto the grid, depending on what is decided. So it's not as confirmed yet as I thought it might have been. So this is, I guess, another fun moment, Marcus, when you have to sit in the cars during a red flag period, where it gets pretty hot.
Yes, that's no laughing matter.
There is Chris Woods, down there in the pit lane in the Citroen. And Neil Frost. There's Neil, the driver from Norwich, local driver, and the account director, in his second season of racing in his Honda Civic. The car prepared by Anthony Drury. That machine there you can see in the pit lane behind Chris Wood's car. And now the cars are being brought into the pit. So as we suspected, the race... oh, is that happening? No. Are they coming to the grid? No. There is a... They might be. So this is all completely against what I thought was going to happen here. Ryan Polly is moving, and they... Okay, so instead of coming down the pit lane to get to Parc Ferme, I think they're going to take them across the line. They see the checkered flag, and then they will turn off at Palmer and go back to Parc Ferme that way, as we have been doing for the rest of the weekend. So that makes some sense. So rather than taking them down the pits into Parc Ferme in the opposite direction to what they have been used to this weekend, they're passing a checkered flag, as you can see now, with Dan Sylvester as the winner.